Welcome to Every Step Podcast. I'm Krystyna Weston.
And I'm Judith Beck.
Every Step is the podcast where career and life meet.
Hey, Krystyna, here we are again.
Here we are again. And to be honest, I'm exhausted. I don't know about you, but I am shattered from life and shattered from all the negativity that's just pervasive. Everything's negative.
You know, I was saying to my husband that, we prepare for the podcast, and sometimes we have drop-in guests and things like that. But every time that we're getting to prepare, we have to look at what's doing our head in. And then I'm thinking, I'm actually purposely having to pay attention to the stuff that's out there right now.
Yeah.
And there's so much negativity, and there's so much victimhoodness, if that's a word.
Oh, yeah. Yes, so much. Great word.
Everybody's a victim. Yeah, victimhood. Everybody's a victim for whatever reason. And, and I sit there and I really do question, Krystyna, like, how do we want to do this? Because, if we had a podcast that talked about happy, everything nice and sugar and spice, that would be lovely. But probably it wouldn't, and nobody would pay attention.
So I blame the listeners. Because, and I'm a listener too, right? We all get sucked into the clickbait of negativity. You think about what it is that you click on and tap on when you're getting a whole bunch of notifications. It's the shark attack victim. It's the person who's been murdered. It's people are about to be killed in a hurricane. The worse the headline, the more we're drawn to it. So if our podcasts were all sunshine and light and positivity, you know what? People aren't drawn to that for whatever reason. That positivity doesn't sell. But in the meantime, we're consuming all of this negative stuff, and it's dragging us all down. It's draining on all of us.
It is hard. It is hard. And it's kind of like, especially, we're getting drawn into overseas things that they do affect us in some ways, but in some ways they don't, at sort of the cost of what happens locally. Like, for instance, these protests that have been going on, that's about something that's happening overseas. It costs the taxpayers here, evidently, every time they have a protest, about $5 million. But nobody's protesting about the fact that we have ambulance ramping and people are dying every day because their ambulance didn't get there. Or then when it does pick them up, they're ramping. This is at every state here in Australia that this is happening in, evidently. And nobody's up in arms about that. No one's up in, like, why aren't we up in arms about that kind of stuff?
I think this kind of leads to another issue as well, where people are expecting different levels of government to try and solve international political problems. So a council cannot solve a global political problem. And yet people are expecting councils, or they're rallying councils to try and solve some of these big issues. It's exactly to your, why aren't you putting energy into solving something else rather than talking to the wrong regulator or the wrong area? Like, it's great to have free speech. It's great to be able to protest, but what difference, what impact is it going to have on massive stuff that's so complex, thousands of years of history? How are we going to make a difference? And it's divisive.
And the money that's
divisive.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, okay, sure, what happens overseas does affect us in some way because we're global, it's global. And but our news channels here, there's more about overseas politics than there is about local politics.
Except the Melbourne Council elections.
That's right. I mean, the good thing, and for those who aren't from Australia, the good thing about the Australian news is that it does tell you both sides of the story. And give you kind of a view back and forth. I feel they
If
do.
you follow different media outlets,
No, I'm talking about like Channel 7, Channel 9, and Channel 10. Those are the mainstream ones. Every morning they have the opposition and the current.
okay.
Okay. And they get their chance to talk about whatever it is. And you get to hear what Labor thinks and what liberals think. And for those that are listening, Labor would be equivalent to Democrat and liberal would be equivalent to the Republican, where in America it's kind of the other way around. And so you do get two people from opposite sides continually getting to have it out with the newsreader, who's the person who is like the moderator. And so I think that is good. If that happened in America, that would be a really good thing. The other thing that does my head in is that if people don't believe this, then I don't know what to tell you. But we are friggin' being censored all the time. And you and I, Krystyna, have been talking about this all the time about algorithms and those kind of things. And the things that get pushed to your
Feeds,
feeds is designed. And I was listening to, and this is a very interesting video. I was listening to Dr. Phil this morning on a video, and I trust Dr. Phil. He's one of those ones that I've listened to for years, and I trust the guy. But what he said, he's got 7.6 million followers. That's a lot. And he said, when he just recently did, because he went down there right away to help with the hurricane, when he went down there and did a post on the hurricane, he got 10 to 15 million views. But then he did a post on Israel and he only got 6,000 views.
so they push content that's trending.
Well, Israel's trending too.
Yeah.
And they push content that they agree with. And that's what he was saying, because it happens to him all the time. And you and I have also said that, even with our own content.
Yeah.
When it's been something that, you know, if we put something in there about pronouns or something like that, hardly get any views on LinkedIn. But if we put something else out there that is supposedly okay, then it goes out. And that is that, you know, that is the thing that is the biggest worrying factor that we all need to start thinking about what we are seeing with our own eyes, what we're reading, what's being censored, what's real, and
what's true. The
what's
biggest
true.
issue is about what's true.
What's
So
true.
we really need to hone our inner warning system and try and get as many different perspectives as possible, because we are, in a lot of instances, being fed a lot of BS. And if you just listen to one type of media or consume your media from one place, you're getting a very warped perspective of the world. And there's a lot of lying and fakery that goes on. My brother sent me, my brother's got a business and he's trying to sell some stuff around four-wheel drives and bits and pieces, some stuff that helps people in the camping four-wheel drive space. And he's been spending money on social media and he's getting nothing. But then as a consumer, he saw his ad and it said that it had gone out, that his video had been seen by 5,000 people and it had gone out to, 40,000 people and 40,000, some ridiculous numbers. And he went to his social media people and went, look at this ad. It tells everybody that's looking that this has gone berserk. But I'm in Meta, I'm in the suite and there's nothing here. How does that even happen? So there's lies on what's trending, and we all get sucked in as humans to go, oh, that's trending. FOMO, what am I missing out on? Quick, let me look at that. So they're feeding fake numbers of feeds to consumers to try and get their buy-in. That's just terrible.
Absolutely. And I know I saw this video. Hillary Clinton was being interviewed somewhere, and but she was saying something like, we need to have censorship. I don't know if she actually used the word censorship, so if you want to fact check me, because I don't remember everything. But the moral of the story was that we need to be able to censor social media outlets for hate speech, for this, that, and the other thing, but who decides? So in other
Well, then you
words,
got the ultimate, who's the ultimate God censor?
and also exactly, and how, so what classifies hate speech or truth? Like truth in their eyes, or but not truth, the real truth. And so, it's like I know that there should be guidelines and but also firm guidelines about. I think that if anybody puts a deep fake out, it should be a criminal charge. So that if someone takes someone else's face and voice and then replicates it and puts it
Yeah.
out as a message, that should be criminals. Those kind of
Good luck
things.
finding those people, though. Like they're so in the dark.
Well, if they can find, if they can, I bet they can find them if they use the right people to find. You
Well,
know
if
what?
they had the permissions, and this is where a lot of the social media platforms put up a brick wall and say, "Oh, privacy. Oh,
Yeah, exactly right. And so those are kind of things that we have to deal with every day as far as like, oh my God, what do we believe? What don't we believe? And getting consumed about watching all this negativity, it can do your head in. And so,
yeah."
how do you overcome that? You really got to tune out. You
Well,
really
you've
got to,
got to
otherwise,
tune out and limit your social media intake. Like limit it
yes.
and don't just go to the same source. Be open to other perspectives. If you're an ABC follower, then look at the Australian, or if you're an Australian, like understand who owns the media and what agendas they might have, and make sure you're looking at all the different perspectives, because otherwise you get sucked into this vortex of thinking one way, and it's warped. It's not even based on truth. I mean,
and
what is truth?
stop taking I've talked about this before. I don't care, at the end of the day, it's over, the elections overseas, but I've seen so many people that are only going to vote for Harris Waltz because Harris is a woman. And that, like, what you ask, I'm so tired of them not asking questions. What have you done? What are your achievements? What have you done that? Or they're going to vote for that camp just because they hate the other camp. But in both senses, they're not asking. Like, I've interviewed thousands of executives over the years, and I can spot BS when I see it in an interview.
Yeah.
And when an interviewer doesn't ask the person how and why, which I see in so many of these interviews, and it's just fluff, like, give me the numbers, give me the details, and tell me why. Tell me, how did you do it? And you interview so many people, and Krystyna, you would have interviewed
Yeah,
people
yeah.
too,
Give me an
where,
example of when you had blah blah and how did
yeah,
it turn out?
how did that turn? But they don't. And you think, who are these people doing the interviews? And you think, why would you not do a follow-up on that answer? And why would you not get them back on track to say, well, that's not quite what I understand it to be. Explain that to me more. But they don't do it.
But
And they
do you know, yeah. Do you know what I actually think is more the issue? I don't think the general public actually cares. I actually think that the political situation, we're back to US politics again, and it's similar to some extent in other countries as well,
do. Yeah.
is it's tribal. It has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing. It's a bit like the football club you're born into is the football club you live and die by, whether there's corruption, whether they're playing well, whether they're playing badly, whether, it doesn't matter. It's so tribal that I think in the US, it doesn't matter what comes out of their mouths. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what answers they have. It doesn't matter how well they sound. It is so tribal that they're going to vote one way. And there's only probably a tiny percentage that might have an intelligent swing vote. It's just tribal. And then a lot of people don't vote. So they're counting on engaging that non-voter.
Well, my advice to people who don't vote, then if you don't vote, then keep
You
your
get,
mouth shut.
yeah,
Keep your mouth shut
you
for
get the
4 years.
leaders you deserve
You get what you're given, and you've got no right to
to bitch.
complain
No
about
bitching.
anything. Yeah, no bitching. Like if you vote, then you've got that gives you the right to complain or to comment or whatever. But if you don't, move along. That's the way I look at it. Hey,
Yeah.
I do have to say something. I think this is kind of hilarious and genius at the same time. Being someone who's written a book and published it, the number one bestseller at Amazon right now is a book called, I think it's called The Achievements of Kamala Harris by this guy by the name of Jason Dudak. It's the number one bestseller right now. And you open the book and all the pages are blank. Now, okay, don't get me wrong, people. I'm just saying that was a genius idea, regardless of whose name was on it. Could have said the achievements of Donald Trump on it and had the same thing in it. But for someone to think to do something like that, and I'm thinking it took me a year or so to write my book. And all this guy had to do is slap a cover on it and put blank pages in the
And
middle
didn't
of
even need AI's help.
didn't even need AI's help. Is like I think the moral of the story is, people, if you have a good idea, even if it seems crazy, just give it a go, because you might have a winner.
Oh, that's hilarious. Something that was a piss take has
Oh my,
actually.
and it's selling in Barnes and Nobles and all the stores, and it's
The
huge.
fact that publishers actually took that on, I guess they figured they could make a buck because at the end of the day, it's just about making a buck, right?
Exactly. Well, obviously, it wasn't a Democratic publisher that published that book, because they wouldn't have done it. But genius idea, regardless. And now I want to talk about something that we've been talking about. You were saying about the 4-day week.
Yeah, there's a number of companies are looking. I think there was, I can't remember the article I sent you during the week. I send you stuff and it's like, they've gone to, yeah, an organization. It was Medibank or someone
Yeah.
has gone to a 4-day, so a health insurance company here in Australia has gone to a 4-day week, and they did a trial, they did a pilot, and it increased productivity allegedly. And there were fewer sick leave days, and people felt like they had better work-life balance. So it had a whole bunch of positivities. But yeah, so they're now rolling out a 4-day week across the entire organization. What's going to be really, really interesting is to see if they can maintain those productivity numbers that they received. I've always been a big fan of, it's not about input, it's about output. And I don't, quite frankly, I don't care if you get your job done in 2 days, but if it takes you 7 days, then that's on you, right? If you can get it done in 2, well, good luck to you. But at the end of the day, as a business owner, um, and no matter where you are, you're a business owner in one way, shape, or form. You're either an entrepreneurial business owner, or you're a shareholder, or you're a representative of the owners in a CEO or a leadership type role. I care about productivity because productivity relates to profitability. And if there's not and we can go into a whole conversation about productivity that's profitable and productivity that's not profitable, but indulge me here. I care about productivity, and I care about outcomes. I care about outcomes way more than anything else. And I care about culture.
Yeah.
So if you have the right culture, you'll get the right productivity, you get the right people on the bus, you get the bus heading in the right direction, and you get the outcomes. If you want to have a day off, then, as long as we're getting the outcomes, but it means I'm not sure it can work for everybody. I don't think this works for everybody. I think it works for a certain type of person, but I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind, but I don't know if it can work across an entire cohort. I don't know.
Well,
What do you reckon, Judith?
there's certain industries that probably wouldn't work for, because they need to be open the 5 days, like a coffee shop or something in the CBD. But I love the idea of a 4-day week. But here's what I would do if I was the owner of the company and I was providing a 4-day week. The 4-day week would be, on those 4 days, you're in the office.
You're an office Nazi.
Right, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. I'm going to tell you why because I did some stats here. Okay. I would say 4 day a week at the same pay, obviously, but
Yeah.
for
Same pay as a 5-day week. Yeah.
same day as a 5 day, 4 day a week. But on that fourth day, which is, whether it's a Wednesday or Friday, whatever, there's no then coming back and saying, oh, I've got a dentist appointment on Tuesday. So I can't be on a Tuesday. Anyway, that is your personal day. That extra day off is your personal day to be doing all those other things that you need to be doing, not in addition to doing that during those other 4 days. So therefore, I want you to have that long weekend. I want you to be refreshed, and I want you to come into the office excited, ready to go, and making a difference. Now, I did this stat, and this is concerning. Let's say you're in your 20s or 30s. Those are the two decades that you need to be establishing your networks, your credibility, and learning.
Yeah.
And you are not, I don't care if you don't have to believe me, people, but if you're working from home, it's not doing you any benefit, in my view. And I'll tell you why. Let's say you are on the 4 days per week thing. Let's say you got 4 days. So if you work 48 weeks, so let's take a month out for your holiday. Here in Australia, you get a month. So that means you're working 48 weeks. If you go into the office for those 4 days, that's 192 days that you're meeting people, you're seeing new opportunities, there's activity. You don't know what the opportunities are until you get into the office. Those opportunities are not happening in your home office.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of incidental stuff that happens
lots
when you're in the same space as other people. And people maintain that they can get it through Slack and Teams and all of those sorts of things. It doesn't happen in the same way as when we were going through the ranks, right?
Not a chance does it happen. And the thing is that if you work your 4 days from home, and let's say you just go into the office one day, that's only 48 days as opposed to 192. So who do you think is going to be better off? The person that's going to be better off is going to be the one that's gotten to the office, made connections, sought out opportunities.
Is seen by the leadership team.
What's that?
Is seen by the leadership team.
Yes, exactly right. So it's you got to be out there and seeing. I wrote this on LinkedIn. There, I was writing this thing about AI increasing. Is it taking over and things like that? Because people think, oh well, I can. I'll learn all this stuff I'll learn all this stuff online.
AI is information, not insights. And you still need to have domain knowledge to tell when it's wrong, because it's not always right, let me tell you. I love it. I love AI. I use it every day, but it's not always right. It's not always right.
And it doesn't replace the real person, because I put in there, someone like John A., for example, writes about how to be a great salesperson. Chances are he's just repeating information anyone could find online. That's right. So basically, if we keep it seeking advice online, or should we be out there networking and being in front of the super salesman person who's actually giving their views and their opinions face to face? That's a lot more powerful than if you read 1 to 5 of being a great salesperson.
Well, there's absolutely, and there's a big, big difference between knowledge and skill. You can have all the information in your head, but if you can't actually do it, and let me tell you, having run sales teams and been in sales roles myself, there's a big difference between what you're told to do and actually being able to do it. It's a skill, and skills like anything, like being a good tennis player, like being a good golfer, like being a good anything, takes practice. And you make a lot of mistakes, before you get good.
And observation is one of the best learning tools. Like
Yeah.
observing a
A good
pro
person in action. Yeah.
in action,
Yeah.
your boss is someone who, or the head of sales, or whoever you're trying to learn from, they're a pro at it, and that's why they're in those positions. And when you see them in action and you go, aha,
Ah,
you have
that's how you do
aha.
it.
That's how you do
You
it. You
do
can't
it.
get that off a video. I'm sorry, you can't. You can get some things off of it, but you can't get the energy and the
Yeah.
passion. You
Yeah.
can't feel it. You can't see it. You don't see the reactions of the other people. It's powerful. So I'm just saying, if you're in your 20s or your 30s, because that's when you're getting your information, get out of that house now. You are
Get
not
in the
doing
office.
yourself
Yeah.
any favors. You're not making good connections. You're not getting as good as probably some of your peers who are going in, the tools and the skills and all the different things that you learn from listening
Yeah.
and seeing. And also, let's not forget those connections or those moments that are not planned, that were never planned, that were accidental, that was you just hearing something from another colleague about something, or meeting somebody on the train, or meeting somebody in the lift, or
The
at the
bump
coffee
ins.
shop.
The bump ins are so powerful.
Bump-ins, I like that. The bump-ins, exactly. The bump-ins that's a good one, Krystyna. Those are very important. And how
Very powerful.
seriously, I could probably equate a big percentage of the income that my companies during those days um, was attributed to by bump-ins.
Yeah, because you're walking along the street and you run into Joe Blogs. It's like, oh, hi, Joe, haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Judith. And then all of a sudden they're going, oh, actually, I didn't think to call you, but we've got a job on. Can I
Yes,
give you a buzz back in the office and talk to you about it? They
exactly.
wouldn't have thought to call you. They wouldn't have thought to call you, but they bumped into you and went, oh,
So get off the computer, get off all this, block it into, except for our podcast, obviously. But really,
get into the real world,
out
kids.
of the house, your communication skills are not going to improve by online Skype meetings and Zoom meetings and things like that. You're not going to be a master in body language, though, and understanding the feeling of what the other person is thinking when you can only see their head, or you can't see their hands, you can't see what's in front of them, you can't feel the energy, and you can't get up from that meeting and walk out with them. Now, how important is the walkout?
Oh my goodness, the walkout debrief. So powerful. Like you walk out with your friend and go, that was a disaster. Did you hear what so and so said?
Exactly. Or you walk out with the client who goes, oh, by the way, I forgot to say. Or maybe that's when you forgot that you did your close. And during the walkout, you'd say, now, have I got your commitment? Can I send you
Yeah, when you catch them off guard like that.
that
So can I
agreement?
count on you? Can I count on you to be part of this?
All you got to do is you just got to wrap that up. And let's not forget the walk-ins. The walk-ins, when you get to that meeting early, I've always been a big promoter of get to that meeting 5 minutes before, so that you're there to greet the other people. And that's powerful too,
Because you're building rapport.
building
It's a
rapport.
really important building rapport period. And yes, you can do some of that online, but it's not the same. It's not the
So
same.
having said that, I hope we've given out a few little tips in our big rant of things that are doing our
We
head.
started negative and I think we ended up positive. Did we end up positive?
Hopefully we gave a few little good tips there. We'll end it on that. And so virtually we have one episode to go to the
Mm.
financial year, which ends, our last episode is the end of October,
End of this month. Yep.
end of this month. And then we're going to have a break. You're going to have a break. We're going to get recharged. And who knows what the new year will bring?
Who knows?
Who knows? It'll be a whole new world. Anyway, our thoughts and prayers are to everyone who's affected by the hurricane.
Yeah,
And
all our friends in America, we feel for you.
yeah, we're with you. We're with you. Okay. Bye, Christine. Thanks.
Bye, Judith. Bye. Bye, everyone. For more information about Every Step and our guests, head to everysteppodcast.com. To be notified of new podcasts, please subscribe via your favourite listening platform. And of course, follow us on social media and direct message us to share your ideas about guests or topics.